I'm doing this, you can tell that I am excited that the Premier League is about to begin in a couple of hours tonight. I still haven't had my dinner yet, so I've got to leave some time after my stream here to hopefully get some dinner before it actually starts. But I thought I'd turn up just to explain why I've gone with this insane save. It's absolutely insane, I know, and you're all going to rubbish me in the comments. But I thought about it, and I've been top 5% for the last I don't know how many years. And I've been top 5% because I followed the template, because I've just done what everybody else has done. I haven't won it, and everybody else who's been telling me who to pick and who to put in my team, they haven't won it either. And I think that the people who win it are the ones who do something different, the risk takers, the people who are willing to take risks. And I'm going to be willing to take risks this year. And I'm starting the season taking a very big risk because, as you can see in my squad, I've got no Haaland and I've got no Salah. And there are a number of reasons why I've done that. So just looking at my team, I'm going to play my bench boost. Make no secret about that. And this is the team that I am trusting to play my bench boost in game week 1. And I think it's a good team. I think we've got starters there. I don't think there's anybody in that team who's not going to start. Rodri being injured probably means Reinders. Is it Reinders or reindeer? I don't know. Reindeers is going to start, and I like him. I watched him play, and he's a ball carrier. He's a dribbler. He'll get near the box. He scored a couple of goals in the match pre-season they played. Doesn't mean he's going to cut it in the Prem, but for 5.5 million, he's a good bench player. He can sit on my bench. I've got Sarr in, I've got Saka, Palmer, Wirtz, and up front I've gone for Watkins, Bowen, Gyökeres. Now, I know you're going to say there are 2 Arsenal players in there, and Arsenal fixtures are not that great. And they are not that great. They are not brilliant. But are you telling me that Arsenal are going to go to Old Trafford scared of Manchester United? They're going to sit back, soak up the pressure and hope they can get a 0-0 draw? Or are they going to go to Manchester United and try to win it? And I suspect they are going to go to Manchester United and try to win it. And I suspect they are going to score goals. And that is why I've got 2 Arsenal players, because they have leads in their second fixture. Against Liverpool, against Manchester City, they are not going to sit back and hope for a 0-0 draw. They are going to go and try and win those games. And I think there will be goals scored in all of those big games that are coming up. And I'm just going to hope that it goes my way. Reindeers. I actually agree, Archie. There's something about him that when I was watching him play, I just thought this boy has no fear. Kudos. Yeah, I have had Kudos in my drafts so many times, and he's come out, he's gone back in, he's come out, he's gone back in, and at 6.5 million, I do think he's a good pick. And in fact, I think that you'll find, is he not, wait a minute, on my watch list I have a number of players. I've actually removed him from my watch list midfielders. The reason why I'm not going with him is watching Tottenham, and I watched them play in the Super Cup where they totally blew it. And whilst Tottenham looked good attacking wise, Kudos was doing all kinds of things, but he wasn't actually involved in the goal attempts. The reason Spurs looked so good up front for about an hour, maybe 75 minutes, is because PSG didn't turn up in the first half. Same as what happened in the Club World Cup. PSG just didn't play. They didn't get off the bus. When they moved Dembele out onto the wing and they brought a centre forward on, PSG looked like a different kettle of fish. And in the end, if the game had gone on in real time 90 minutes for 5 more minutes, PSG would have won that before penalties. So I think that Kudos is a good pick. And I probably would have him in if I had Salah or Haaland in my team. But because I haven't gone Salah and I haven't gone Haaland, then I had more money to spend on different players. I've gone for Salah because I like his fixtures in game week 4 and 5. Sunderland at home, West Ham away. I like those fixtures. Nottingham Forest isn't bad. And that's why I've gone with Salah rather than Kudos or perhaps Enzo even from Chelsea, who I also like, but not enough to actually warrant putting in my team. You'll notice on my watch list that I've got Estevao. Now, Estevao has impressed me in pre-season. He looks the business. He's young, so he's probably not going to get the minutes, but in the second half of the season, he might. If he continues to play the way he played, then there's no reason why he's not going to get a starting berth in the Chelsea team. But well, give it 10 games. Keep an eye on him. He might well end up as a nice pick at 6.5 million. So I've gone ahead of him rather than Enzo. Why am I not going? Triple Spurs is good, reckons. I'm not going to knock that at all. I'm not going to knock anybody's team. I'm not an expert. I know I'm not a statistician either when it comes to FPL. And the reason why I'm not a statistician is that because of the so-called experts have never won it. Stats have never won it for them. And I tend to watch football, as you know from my FM stuff. When I watch football, I'm watching what's happening tactically. I'm not really watching from just a spectator point of view. I'm watching what the managers are doing, how they're setting up, where players are, where's their starting point, where do they move to. I'm watching how players are involved in the game. Even when I'm relaxing and watching football, I do that. So I'm going for players who have impressed me. Bowen, he's a risky pick. There's no doubt about it. But if West Ham are going to score goals, they might not. Their fixtures are pretty good. If they are going to score goals, you can guarantee that Bowen's going to be somewhere involved in them 50% of the time. So he's in for that reason. The reason why I've not gone for Haaland and Salah is I went for a Salah draft first of all, just like everybody else, and I just felt that I had Salah, Palmer +1, and then everybody else was a kind of like I'm hoping they have a good season, and then I changed and I went to Haaland and I had Haaland +1, plus Palmer, plus maybe another one. So I was like relying on 3 or 4 players and hoping with all the others. So when I did both of them, it was even worse. I was just relying on 3 players and the rest of the team looked awful. And then I decided, right, let's have a look at how it looks. My starting 11 doesn't matter because I'm playing the bench boost. So on my bench, I've got Sarr, Konsa and Goodmanson with Verbruggen in goal. So it really doesn't matter because the entire team are going to be playing in game week 1. So I've decided that what is the worst case scenario in terms of Salah and Haaland. If I don't have them, what's the worst case scenario? So for me, if I had Salah, I know what would happen. Salah would blank and Haaland would get a hat-trick. But if I had Haaland would blank and Salah will get a hat-trick. It doesn't matter which one I pick. My luck being the way it is, I will pick the wrong one. Now, it doesn't matter if Salah does get a hat-trick in game week 1. He's not going to get a hat-trick every single game he plays. And I'm not daft. I know that Salah and Haaland are going to get returns. What I've got to figure out is, without them, are the rest of my team, just because I don't have them, Are my team not going to get attacking returns? Are they all going to blank? I don't think so. They might, though, but I am taking a gamble. I am taking a risk because it is a big risk. But I also know that people who win Fantasy Premier League are the ones who take risks. I actually never thought I would see the day that Haaland would be a differential pick. It's this quite extraordinary game week 1 that we've got going on here, because I think if we look for Haaland, he's probably only selected by 23% of the teams he's selected by now. So it's it is a very strange season game week 1 that we've got going here. And I'm struggling to work out why Haaland has only got 23. And when you think about Salah, 64% of is it 64? No, 54% have picked Salah in their team. Now, the expectation amongst those who've got Salah in their team is that they're going to steamroller Bournemouth and win 4-0. They might, but they also might win 1-0. They might lose 1-0 because people are assuming that Bournemouth are just rubbish and it's going to be one-way traffic. I don't believe that the first game of the Premier League is going to work out that way. I think it is going to be a football match. I do believe that Liverpool will win. But will they win 4 or 5-0? I don't think so. Bournemouth are playing for pride. They're going to be playing their socks off. And Liverpool's attacking lineup, although it's very, very good, it's playing together. It's a new forward line. And they might not just gel for a 5-0 win. And even if they win 5-0, is Wirtz going to be involved in the goals that they get? Or is it going to be all Salah, 5 penalties and nobody else is involved? Somebody else is going to be picking up points as well. So even if Salah gets 2 goals and an assist against Bournemouth, what's the worst case scenario? I've got Saka, Sarr, Wirtz and Reindeers. I've got 3 very good forwards, Gyökeres, Bowen and Watkins. Are those forwards plus the other midfielders enough to make up the points that Salah gets to keep me somewhere near? Because I have to remember that if you've got Salah in your team, you've probably got Palmer and you've probably got 1 decent forward. And then you're relying on people like Strand Larsen away at Manchester City to provide you with other points. I'm relying on 12 of this 15 to get me points. And that's probably the difference. And that's probably why I've gone with this. If it fails, it's not the end of the world. I could be 30 or 40 points behind at the end of game week 2. I can change it. By the end of game week 2, I'll have a couple of transfers and I can bring Haaland or Salah in. I have players that I can use to bring them in. And I have players that I can downgrade in order to do that. And that's the reasoning why I want to be different. Whichever one, Haaland or Salah, that I pick, the other one will do well. That's a big reason. And I can't have them both. It's just not feasible with 100 mil to have them both. Later in the season, in the second half of the season, it might be possible. So I've gone for a team that I know are starters. And I'm, in a sense, just relying on the 8 that I'm relying on, picking up steady points rather than going for the big hitters. And I know people are going to be critical of the 2 Arsenal in there. But I could take Gyökeres out easily, put Mateta in there, because I've been impressed with Mateta. and strengthen up the defence. But I think the defence is pretty solid. They all have good fixtures in the opening 5 or 6 weeks. So I think there's also attacking potential in this defence with Goodmanson might be a dark horse for Leeds. And then Pedro Porro could go Muniez for Palace, but I've decided Spurs' fixtures are better, and I've decided to go with Porro. Palmer is going to take the captain's armband. And yeah, I think people are sleeping on Sarr. Yeah, Chelsea's first game isn't good, but yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Jay. But, you know, people, I'm going to hope when I do these live streams, I hope that people are going to give me advice. Probably not going to take it because, like, I get tired of the experts telling me. And so often when I listen to the experts in years gone by, they gave me bad advice. I put the player in and they changed their mind 2 minutes before the kickoff, and I get left carrying the baby. So I'm doing my own thing this year. I'm absolutely determined to do my own thing. Do you think Haaland versus Wolves is a better matchup than Salah? It's difficult to say. I think that they both, Jay, have every chance of getting goals this weekend. Both of them. And that's why you probably think I'm insane that I haven't got at least one of them. On the other hand, if they don't perform, because it is game week 1, if they don't perform, or there's only one goal between them, I could be quids in here. And that's what I'm relying on, especially as I've got a good bench now. I'm playing my bench boost, so I don't have to worry about it later. And then when I do wildcard, I can just focus on the 11 rather than trying to make sure I've got a bench for when I play it later. Whether that will work, who knows. But I'm not too worried about the bench boost because it never gets me any points. My bench never gets me any points, except when I'm not playing the bench boost. There'll be weeks where I get 20 or 30 points on the bench, and I'm sitting there thinking, why didn't I play my bench boost this week? So generally, you've got to look at your bench getting you 10 extra points or 12 extra points. I've got a strong enough bench here that could get me 15 extra points if I get lucky. So I'm going to have to get lucky, though. Gyökeres worries me on people. He's just giving off Pepe vibes. Gyökeres worries me too, as well, reckons. And I still have time, and I could still take him out before 6:30. I could put Mateta in, and Mateta is probably the one that I would go for instead. But he's the kind of forward that Arsenal have been actually crying out for. He's a gamble. Let's just say he's where I'm going to go really gambling is Gyökeres. He's either going to get a hat full of goals or he's not going to work. If he doesn't work, it's not a big deal. Because if he hasn't done anything by game week 3, then I'd be considering taking him out. And if he's got a goal by game week 3, there's a chance that he's going to adapt and fit in. But if he hasn't got any returns by the end of game week 3, I'm going to be thinking, right, I need to take him out. He's the risk. He might get a hatful, he might get nothing. The others are not so much of a risk. Watkins, I know what I'm getting with Watkins. Bowen, I know what I'm getting with him. Sarr, Palmer, Saka. Wirtz, people will say is a risk. I don't think so. I think he's a very, very fine player. I think he's going to fit into that attack really well. So there's 4, 5, 6 players that I really don't need to worry about. I don't need to worry about my defence until I wildcard, probably in 6 or 7. And then Reinders, I just like him as a pick for 5.5 million. And with Rodri injured, he's going to get game time. So Gyökeres, yeah, I agree, reckons. I do agree with you. I think he is a gamble. please, guys, do not listen to a word I say. It's one of the things I'll tell you. I'm not going to be ever looking at stats. Stats for me are for FM. They're not for FPL. And I prefer form, and I prefer looking at them. And those are the two things that I go for form more than anything else, and trying to predict form. So somebody has, generally players play well for 6 games, 5 or 6 games. So if somebody scores 2 and then gets another one, then that's an indication that that player's in form. So he might be, at that point, let's get him in for 4 games. If somebody has done well for 4 games, then he's pointless bringing him in now, because his form is going to start falling off. So I tend to try and anticipate who's coming into form early on when it comes to transfers. Just going through some of this, Jay, which players do you think in this team, my long-term holders, will Saka, Palmer, Gyökeres, Watkins, if he starts well, Watkins, and definitely Wirtz. I'd like to think that all of these will go through to game week 6, no problem. I have a funny feeling that I will hold on to Saka, Palmer, Watkins, even Bowen, because when West Ham score goals, he is involved. I know he gets 1 point less now because he's not classed as a midfielder, but I still like Bowen because I think the stats are that he was involved in 52% of the goals that West Ham scored last season. That's huge. So he's in my team for that reason. Yeah, I'm very exciting, Rob. I'm very, very excited. Expecting Solanke. Solanke, I don't think is going to start, reckons. I thought about Solanke, and because he only played 15 minutes in that Super Cup, I can't take that risk that Solanke's going to start. I want to keep an eye on him, of course, because once he is fit and up and running, he's going to be in that team, and he's going to score goals. And Solanke will assist as well, although when he was assisting last year, it was to Son. He doesn't have Son anymore. And often Son was the player that gave him the assists as well. So Tottenham, for me, attacking-wise, the jury's out at the moment. I've gone with what I know in terms of attacking, apart from Gyökeres. He's the gamble. I was expecting Solanke to be a great striker. Eze, yeah, again, you can't pick everybody, but I'm not going to argue that Eze isn't a good pick. Look at Crystal Palace's fixtures. I mean, I wouldn't call those easy. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest at home, Aston Villa away. I wouldn't call those easy. I wouldn't see Eze picking up tons of returns there, but he might here. So it's in a similar way. That's why Sarr is in my team, not for game weeks 2 and 3, but for game weeks 4 and 5. And that's why I've gone with Sarr, because he's a known entity. Although his shooting is just like, it's a bit like my Ipswich team in FM, is couldn't hit a barn door. Even when he scored recently, it went in off the post in the Community Shield when really he didn't need to put it near the post. I think he scuffed it a little bit, but it still went in. So he's going to get himself into positions where he can score. He's not going to get returns early on, but I want him for game week 4 and 5. Frimpong, yes. Frimpong, it will be a great pick. The problem I think that Liverpool have, though, watching Liverpool, is that the 2 wing-backs don't quite yet know how to fit that system. And Liverpool can get caught, and Crystal Palace caught Liverpool out wide because both wing-backs were way too advanced. and especially Munoz caused Liverpool all kinds of problems down the right-hand side. Frimpong did better on the left hand, on Crystal Palace's left-hand side. Defensively, he was more aware than Kirkes. Kirkes was leaving oceans of space for Munoz down here and on the right-hand side, and that was what was responsible in the end for Liverpool losing that Community Shield. So Frimpong worries me defensively. Liverpool worry me defensively if they are going to leave open spaces out on the flanks. I guess Slot will sort that out, but they certainly can't be both bombing forward, leaving those wide open spaces. I think Van Dijk was getting very, very frustrated as that game went on. For the same reason, you have Sarr. Is it worth downgrading Wirtz to Gakpo? The force, if you're immediately, when you use the word, is it worth downgrading, you're immediately in your own head. What you're saying, is it worth making my team worse? If you tell me, is it worth upgrading? If you ask me, is it worth upgrading to someone, you're trying to do something positive. This is a psychological game in as much as you are relying on luck and just good judgment. Your judgment is telling you that Wirtz should be in that team. That's why you're now thinking it's a downgrade to go to Gakpo. You're talking money, of course, but psychologically what you might be thinking in your head is that I am downgrading my team because he's worth less, then I'm downgrading my team. I think it is a downgrade regardless of money. It's a downgrade in terms of attacking returns. I think Wirtz is going to be getting attacking returns. He's in how many teams? 36 now. So 36% of people believe that even though he's new, he's going to be involved in attacking returns. So are you upgrading your team with Munoz, or are you actually making your team worse by getting rid of Wirtz? That's what I would say to you, because only you can answer the question. If I tell you, yeah, downgrade to Gakpo and bring in Munoz, and then both fail, then I am responsible. But at the end of the day, psychologically, you have to work out, am I making my team better or worse? Because only you can decide that. No expert in the world can tell you, you have to have this player. Because if he then fails, and everybody, all the pundits are telling me, you have to have Salah. He's a must have. But if he fails, they're all going to look very silly, aren't they? And he might not fail. He's getting on a bit now, though. He's 33 years old. So, yeah, you've got to, like, in your own head, work out, am I making my team better or worse? Did I like my team before I thought about that change that I wanted to make? Make that change. And then have a look at your team and think, am I really happy with my team now? And if you're not, then change it back. Think about where your attacking returns are coming from. And for me, I haven't gone with any of those big names, Munoz included. And the reason why I haven't gone with Munoz is simply because, as we saw with Sarr, his fixtures in 1, 2, and 3 are not great. So his returns are not going to be great, I wouldn't have thought, although that might be wrong. Palace might come out of the blocks and surprise everyone. I just don't know. Nobody can predict the Premier League, but you have to, in your own head, just work out, am I making my team worse? When you look at it, oh my God, it's dreadful. Now switch it back, because your initial thought was you want Wirtz back in the team. What do I think about Mateta? Yeah, I've still got time, and I could still switch Gyökeres. If one of you persuades me that Mateta is a better option than Gyökeres, then I will switch it. But at the moment, I'm not seeing that. Mateta looks sharp in pre-season, looked very good in the Community Shield. But does that mean that given his fixtures too, because he's got the same fixtures as Sarr and Munoz, does that mean that he's going to do any better than them? Bear in mind, I put Sarr in my team. I am not expecting anything from him. I have to accept, when I put Sarr in my team, in the first 3 game weeks, if he gets 2 points, I'll be happy. That's it. He's not there as someone that I'm relying on in my first 3 game weeks. He's just sitting there waiting for game week 4. Now, he does play Chelsea. He might get a goal. Forest isn't that bad for Palace. If they start well, he might get an assist. So he will pick up the odd attacking return in those 3 fixtures, hopefully. And so, but I'm not expecting big things from him until maybe game week 4 and 5. And after game week 4 and 5, I think their fixtures improve a lot more. So we have 6 is Liverpool. He's probably going to sit on the bench, but he might not. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, his fixtures get a lot better after game week 3. So, yeah, Munoz would be in your team for exactly the same reason as Sarr is in mine. He's there. Forget about him for the first 3 game weeks, and if he gets something, great. If he doesn't, I'm not worried about it. And basically, that's kind of like how I would look at things. Each one of these players has value for me in terms of the first 6 fixtures. If they didn't have value for me in terms of the first 6 game weeks, they wouldn't be in my team. The defenders, all of those teams have pretty good fixtures. It doesn't mean that they're going to get clean sheets because they're not the greatest defenders in the world. But if they get 2 clean sheets each in those 6 fixtures, then that's going to be a really good start. Even 1 clean sheet each wouldn't be that bad. So it's more of what value do they have to my team overall than looking at specific game weeks. So I'm taking blocks of 6, and they all have value somewhere in those blocks of 6. Some of them have more value than others, but I only have 100 mil to spend, and I can't have all the players who have the best value for each of the 6 game weeks. I wish, but I don't have that kind of money. I would say I'm downgrading my team for game week 1, but upgrading it for future game weeks. Then that's a good way to look at it, the Force. And if you think that he's going to give you better value outside of the first couple of game weeks, then go for it. Downgrading Wirtz, though, would be a gamble because I do like Wirtz. He's pleasing on the eye. His passing is sublime. He's going to be getting assists and the odd goal. Definitely go for a Nana. Are you absolutely sure, Jack? I think João Pedro... I'm not going to disagree with you, Jerry, about João Pedro. My worry about João Pedro, what am I concerned about with João Pedro? Okay. My concern about João Pedro is not João Pedro, strangely enough. It's Delap. And I've watched Delap coming on for 30 minutes in pre-season, and that boy wants to be in the first team. He's not coming on even in a friendly game that doesn't mean anything. That boy was coming on and he was playing like his life depended on it and scoring goals too. So he wants the number 9 shirt, and Delap is a good player. People are sleeping on Delap a little bit, including me, because João Pedro is expected to start. But João Pedro may play 60 minutes, 65 minutes, maybe even 70, and Delap will get his chance. He'll get 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and that boy, watch the game, and that boy will come on and play like his life depends on it. And if he's successful, and probably Delap will start in the Carabao Cup, and if Delap is successful and picks up a goal or two when he comes on for 20 minutes, plus plays well in the Carabao Cup, and João Pedro is not performing brilliantly, who's to say that Delap might take over as the number one, at least in the short term? We just don't. I mean, that my worry isn't João Pedro, it's Delap at this stage. And I think for those two, João Pedro and Delap, I want to see how the season pans out for Chelsea. I know I'm probably going to miss out on returns with João Pedro, but I wouldn't have thought there's going to be too many. And the mistake that I might have made is going with Palmer, because Palmer might be supplying goals for João Pedro. And if I see that, then I will switch it. If Palmer's more of an assister and João Pedro is banging in the goals, I will not hesitate to switch Palmer for João Pedro. And this is like a strange game. A lot of it is down to luck. A lot of it is just the feel-good factor. How good do you feel? And a lot of it is patience. With fantasy football, people tend to panic. And Salah bags a hat-trick. Somebody's looking at this team. Oh, God, I've got to have Salah in my team. He's not going to score a hat-trick every week. And he might blank next time out. So people go chasing points rather than trusting the team that they've picked. And I think I was the same, and I was listening to all these experts and changing my team and using transfers, and sometimes transfers that I didn't have, and it wasn't working. And so now I'm going to be patient. I've picked a team for 5 or 6 weeks. They're not going to blank every week. And even if Salah and Haaland play well early on, I'm only going to be maximum 40, 50 behind by the time I get to game week 6. That's not that far. I'm planning to wildcard around game week 6 or 7. But that might change. If the team does okay, that might move to 13, 12 or 13 when Arsenal really come into their really good fixtures. So up to game week 6, that's the team that I want to go with, barring injuries, of course, severe injuries. Then that's the team that I will go with. I will trust them. I will trust my judgment for a change. And whatever happens up to game week 6 is not a disaster. It's only game week 6. You can still recover after game week 6. So whatever team you pick, trust them is what I would say. Are you not worried about Fulkrug stealing some goals? Absolutely. Absolutely the force. But if Fulkrug's going to score, Bowen's going to be assisting. And I've seen Bowen assisting him. Fulkrug sitting in the 6-yard box. Bowen has an opportunity to shoot instead. He has passed it inside and Fulkrug's tapped it in. I've seen that happen in pre-season, and it might happen. Fulkrug, on the other hand, we don't really know about his fitness yet. And I fancy that in the Premier League, Bowen's not going to be quite so generous as well. That he has the opportunity to score, he will take that on. So for me, Bowen, I think, is a must in my team, given that I don't have the Haaland up front. I want players who've scored goals, and Watkins and Bowen have scored goals, and Gyökeres is my gamble. And that's why I'm going with that, for better or for worse. And nobody as yet has persuaded me that Gyökeres is an absolute waste of time. Arsenal are not going to be afraid of Manchester United. Arsenal are not going to sit back with 5 at the back, 2 in front of them, and hope for a 0-0 draw against Manchester United. They're going to go and attack Manchester United. They're going to go and attack Leeds in game week 2. They want 6 points from 6 before the bigger games arrive. So I don't think there's any danger that Arsenal are not going to be attacking in the first 2 game weeks. Fulkrug, yeah. Of course, he probably will, now that he's fit, take a few goals off Bowen. But I don't think Bowen is going to be overly generous if he gets opportunities. Will Villa not be playing their new striker over Watkins? Not in the beginning, I don't think. And Watkins has been banging goals in pre-season. He looks sharp. And I think that Emery will have had a brain fart if he decides not to play Watkins, especially early on. Now, I know, and it does worry me, that Watkins couldn't get in the team. Rashford was getting in the team instead of Watkins at the end of last season. And Duran was also more favoured sometimes than Watkins. So is there something going on between the manager and Watkins that we're not aware about? Because for me, Watkins should be nailed on in that Aston Villa team for the season. Even if he has to change his formation, Watkins should be in that team. Now, Watkins is still subject of transfer speculation, but I can't see him leaving in this transfer window. And I think, given that he's been banging goals in for fun in pre-season, I think he has to start. I might be wrong again, but I don't know. Now you guys are putting all kinds of doubts in my mind, but I think he's tried and trusted and proven, and he will start the season at least, Jerry. To go for another brand new striker as well as Gyökeres, for me, would be folly. Having one in each section isn't too bad. Thoughts on Trafford? It's probably a good pick. I mean, how much does he cost? How much does he cost, Trafford? He's got to be here somewhere. Let's just type his name in, it'll be easier. 5 million. Is he a better bet than Sanchez at 5 million? The reason why Sanchez is in for me is this fixtures, basically fixtures. And Chelsea's fixtures are about as good as you could possibly get. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham and Brentford. And I'm hoping that Chelsea will have a couple of clean sheets in those 4 games. Fixture-wise, it's about as good as it could be. So Force has put his team there. Sanchez, Murillo. Murillo's a good pick, definitely. Porro, Diouf. Diouf, good outside bet. I like Diouf. Salah, Palmer, Rodgers, Gakpo, Reindeers, Watkins and Pedro. Yeah, and I can see what you're doing with that team. Is that because you have Salah, then you're having to tone down your attack. So you've got Watkins and Pedro up front, but then you've had to bring in Gui of Sunderland. I think it's Sunderland, isn't it? Nothing wrong with that. But your bench, you really only have Munez on your bench. And that would concern me. At the beginning of the season, when we're never sure who's going to be playing at any particular point, just to have one player only on your bench that you can pop in who's going to be reliable. Esteve of Burnley, yes, he's going to play, but are Burnley going to get lots of defensive contributions? Are they going to get lots of clean sheets? I don't think so. So that would worry me. I mean, there's nothing I can see wrong with your team at all. Absolutely nothing. I might change mine to yours now. So I think that you've got to go with your gut instinct, and you have a very, very good team there. I think you have a good team. Only problem with Sanchez, you never know what you get. Absolutely. He was, at times, he was absolutely dreadful. Last season, at times it was like, I don't know what he was doing. What I want to do is I want to just put up the code for the Old Man Phil League. So we'll just pop the code in here, which is 56NWNL. I got 40 people in there at the moment. So getting on for 40 anyway. So I think for me, that was really fun last year. And I am going to be, because there's only 40 or so, we can actually highlight that. Because like all creators have their leagues, but they have thousands in there. And they never talk about their league. They do their videos and whatever, but they never talk about their league. I intend to do videos and also talk about the league. Who's on top, who's not doing too well. Like me, for example, who's not doing too well. I want it to be fun rather than way too serious, way too overly serious. But the one thing I would say to people, if I was going to give any advice, is that this is very psychological. This game is a psychological game. And a lot of it is trusting yourself and not just going off and watching all these content creators and going along with what they tell you. Trust yourself. And as I said, I haven't done badly. I generally tend to do well in my mini leagues. I won one and came second in my own last year. I tend to finish in the top 5%, but generally it's because I go with a template. But I don't want to go with the template anymore. I want to try it for myself now and have some fun with it rather than go in believing that I'm going to win FPL. I am not going to win FPL. I'd like to, but I'm not going to win FPL. And I want to see if I can get into the top 5% again using my own team and not relying on other people to tell me who to put in. And hey, Stefan, good to see you. I think too early for Mbuemo. He doesn't look properly fit to me, but that would be my thoughts on... we shall see you there, the Force. You'll probably win it as well. And I as a Man United fan, I'd like to think that United are going to hit the ground running and score tons of goals, but they're not. I'm a fan, but I'm realistic. And it's not going to happen for a while. And Mbuemo doesn't even look fit to me at this point in time. So whether he will even start against Arsenal, I'm not sure. I think he might come off the bench, but I don't even know if he will start. He might. I might be wrong, but he for me, he's not ready yet. Cunha, on the other hand, is ready, but doesn't look like he's fully integrated into what Amarin wants of them. We'll have to wait and see, and that's why for United players, I want to just wait and see. For me, they were individual players who played like they were key players in their teams, Brentford and Wolves, and people looked for them all the time, and that's why they scored these goals. They were the key player, the key man in those teams. They're not going to be the key man anymore. And they're going to have to get used to playing more as a team now rather than being individuals. So it just worries me, even as a United fan. It just worries me. Dorgu, on the other hand, is an option, I would say. Possibly. Yeah, wish you luck too. I am so looking forward, Stefan, to this beginning. in a couple of hours now, less than a couple of hours. There's 20 minutes before the game is locked, guys. I'm still thinking Gyökeres. Rather than Verbruggen, would you consider Dubravka? Yeah. I would consider it. is the answer to that. But then I'm thinking about fixtures. And should anything go awry with Sanchez, let's say Sanchez starts making a total donkey of himself, then Verbruggen's fixtures are good enough that he can actually come in for him. So that's the reason why I've spent the extra 0.5 on the goalkeeper, but also because I'm playing my bench boost in game week 1, and Verbruggen against Fulham for me represented just worth putting that 0.5 of a mil on him. I could do it. At one point, I had Van Dijk instead of Pedro Porro. Or I had Murillo instead of Nico Williams. And so, is Van Dijk going to be a better bet than Pedro Porro? Possibly. Pedro Porro is probably marginally more attacking threat. Nico Williams probably has more attacking threat than Murillo. So I spent the 0.5 somewhere else and put these two in instead. Mistakes are made, that might be one, but at the end of the day, I'm going with what my gut is telling me, what my judgment's telling me. And even if it goes totally wrong, it's okay. I'm okay with that because it's only game week 1. Man United do have good fixtures game week 2 and 3. Yep, they do, the Force. But then it all goes pear-shaped for them when they get to game week 4 and 5, I believe. So Dorgu, we bring up. So Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Fulham and Burnley. I wouldn't even say that Fulham away for Manchester United is a good fixture. Traditionally, it's the kind of fixture that Manchester United go and lose. And I don't think United have proven enough to me yet that they are even a top 10 team this season. I'll be happy if they get to 10th place, to be fair. So Fulham is not a gimme. Fulham away is not a gimme for United. And I can see some frustration coming for United fans in the first 10 games of this season. I can see a lot of them shouting, sack the manager again. But we have to be patient as United fans. We have to be patient. But for FPL, I am not convinced by Manchester United. Fernandes, of course. If his fixtures were better, Fernandes would be in my team. But his fixtures are just a little bit too dodgy. He might come in later on down the line, but not yet. I need United to prove themselves to me first, rather than get excited about them now. Euro will play a lot. Certainly will, Jerry. But again, would I want Manchester United defenders for those first 5 game weeks? When, if you look at someone like Nottingham Forest, all they have is Arsenal. I can cover Nico Williams on the bench for game week 4. But the rest of their fixtures, West Ham and Burnley, it just makes more sense to play a Nottingham Forest defender than it does a Manchester United defender. At this point in time, and we don't know what the season's going to look like after half a dozen game weeks, United might have surprised everybody. Might be top of the league with 18 points. We just don't know. In which case, everybody will have a ton of Man United players in their team, and then they will fall off then. And people will be complaining United aren't getting returns anymore. That's football. But I don't want to go chasing points. That's the point of this, is that this is my team now, and that is my team that it's going to be for 5 or 6 game weeks. I'm not going to go trying to squeeze Haaland into my team in game week 2 because he got a hat-trick against Bournemouth. That's not how I'm going to play this. I go with what I've got and trust the 8 players who look to me like really good picks. Porro, Saka, Palmer, Sarr, Wirtz, Gyökeres, Bowen and Watkins. Reinders might be the new Morgan Rogers. We don't know. And Goodmanson, I do think he is in for a good season as well. And Stefan being the Swede, he will talk about Goodmanson. In around 3 hours, and we will know in a few hours whether this has worked or whether it has been an absolute disaster. If Salah gets 2 or 3 goals, then I'm going to have my head in my hands. But if he blanks, I'm looking good. And sometimes you got to take a risk or two. A lot of people are either going to be ecstatic. 54% of people are going to be ecstatic because Salah played well, got returns, or they are going to be as miserable as hell tonight. The problem is that for Salah, everybody's assuming that they're going to win 5-0. I'm not seeing that. And if we look, it's like looking at these fixtures, they're hard to call. Many of them are hard to call. I would probably say that Liverpool will win quite comfortably, but it won't be 5-0. It might be 2-0. Aston Villa, Newcastle is impossible to call. I just think there will be goals in that game. Brighton, Fulham. That one, I don't know. It could go either way. This is another impossible one to call. Don't know if Fulham are going to turn up. Spurs, I would think they're going to beat Burnley, but they're not going to romp over Burnley. First game of the season, Burnley are going to go out there and give everything they've got. It's not going to be a romp. Sunderland, West Ham, I would predict that as a draw, to be honest. If West Ham were at home, I'd say they'd win, but I'm going to say that will be a draw. And City should beat Wolves quite comfortably, but I don't think it's going to be a steamroller event. Not in Game Week 1. Game Week 1, teams find it very difficult against smaller opposition, traditionally. Chelsea, Crystal Palace, that could even be a draw. Forest and Brentford, I would say that Forest will win that, but it's not going to be by many. United, Arsenal will win it, but there will be goals in it. And Leeds, Everton, I haven't got a clue. I think, actually, that Leeds are going to win that game. That's how I would see it going. But nobody's going to win 5-0, I don't think. So I don't think anybody is going to be in serious trouble if somebody blanks. So one thing, if Salah blanks, I could easily replace him with anyone I want. Yeah, absolutely. I would need 2 transfers to get him in, or the same with Haaland. And I'd have to sacrifice probably Saka as well as Gyökeres. And that is something that I might have to consider around about game week 3 or 4 because of Arsenal's difficult fixtures. If they are struggling, then it might be that I have to make that sacrifice with the 2 Arsenal players at that stage. I will have free transfers to do it by then. But I want to give them the opportunity because very few people are going to have that combination of Saka and Gyökeres in their team. That's the differential that I'm looking for. So I want to give them a few games to see if they have got that. One rule is to pick the donkey. The donkey team of the season and always have opponents to them in your team, Blake. Yeah. The donkey, who are going to be the donkeys of the season this year? Everybody's going to target Burnley, target Leeds, and target Sunderland. That's who, I guess I'm going to say the pundits, the top managers of FPL, they are going to target the relegated teams. And in a sense, I'm going to do the same. Saka, for me, is a candidate for captain in game week 2. Gyökeres, if he has a good game against United, he's a candidate for captain in game week 2 as well. So that's targeting lower league teams like Burnley, Sunderland in my team. 2 targets of Sunderland. I don't think that Everton are going to be that great, even though I think that Grealish is a great signing. And at one point, I did have him in my team, Grealish, but he's not going to start yet. He's one I'm going to keep an eye on. But one I desperately am going to keep an eye on is Estevao, the Chelsea winger. He's just a youngster, but he looks very, very good, Estevao. And he just might be a surprise in the Premier League this year. He's not in my team at the moment. It's 6.5. It's too risky. But if he starts playing well, and he's going to come off the bench like Delap, if he starts well, who's to say that they don't get a steady place, a regular place in that team? Swagoto, how are you, my friend? Yeah, Burnley is the worst team. That's a good strategy, Stefan. And I think you'll find I've got Sunderland opposition and Burnley opposition. Wolves are not going to be a great team. I've got one Wolves as an opposition. So yeah, targeting the promoted teams is a way of looking at it. I agree with you, Stefan. I hope you are well, Swagoto. It's good to see you. RG, good to see you. Leeds versus Everton, viewers lose. How do you mean? Explain that, RG. Leeds versus Everton, viewers lose. I mean, the force is saying if Salah blanks, I could easily replace him with anyone I want. That would Salah blanks. It doesn't mean he's going to blank next week. If he gets a hat trick this week, it doesn't mean he's getting a hat trick next week. If you've got Salah in your team and you're happy with Salah being in your team, you should keep him in there. At least 5 or 6 game weeks. If he blanks for 6 game weeks, then you might be wanting to consider taking him out. But trust me, the week then that you take him out, he goes and bags 5 in a game. That's how football works. That's how FPL works. There are players who are going to sit in my team. Somebody asked me who are the players who are going to be just in my team. Wirtz is one. Palmer's another. Bowen and Watkins are other ones. They are just going to be there. Reindeers probably because of his price tag, and maybe even Sarr. So those are going to be locked in players for me. Players like Konsa. He's not going to be a remarkable player, but his price tag means that you can put him in even if it's as a bench player. He's going to be like an asset to the overall 15. That's the way I'm looking at it. Not as just a bunch of individuals, but how are they contributing to the overall first 6 game weeks? If anybody's not contributing in there, and I feel at this point I've got one player in there who's always going to be on my bench, he's never going to play, not even one game. It's a waste of time him being in there. I'm playing it differently this year and seeing what becomes of that. I'm excited about the new season, really looking forward to Man United. Well, I am, shall we say, cautiously optimistic, Swagoto. I'm a Man United fan since I was 5 years old, I think. And I haven't seen such a bad Man United team in all my years. There will be a little improvement this year, I'm pretty sure. The players they've brought in are better than they had last year, but defensively we are still a mess. And if we get 10th this year, Swagoto, I'll be very, very happy. I don't expect any more than that. So I think with 5 minutes left to go, I'm going to stay with this. I kind of like this team. It rotates really well. Everybody has something to contribute somewhere in the first 5 or 6 game weeks. I'm probably not going to finish the first 6 game weeks on top of the world, and it wouldn't surprise me to see myself 40 or 50 points behind at that stage. At that stage, one of my big concerns is I don't know. Well, at this point in time, I don't know whether it's Salah or Haaland who's going to be worth the money. I don't know. I don't think both of them are going to be doing exactly the same as each other. One of them will probably not play so well, and one of them will be the superstar of the season. And I don't know which one it is. That's my big problem. At the end of 6 game weeks, I will know which one I want in my team. Then when I wildcard, he can come in at that point. The other one I won't then need to worry about. So not having either of them, what that means for me is I don't have to worry about them. I can just track who is playing the better, and I don't have that awful sinking feeling that the one I don't have has just bagged a hat-trick and mine's blanked. I don't have that awful feeling. So I am not going to be number 1 in the world at the end of 6 game weeks. Not with this team. But I'm hoping I'm not going to be too far behind when I can make more educated decisions at that time. Wildcard in 6 or 7. Reset and go again. That's my planning for this. And so with 3 minutes left, are you all ready to lock your team in? Mine is locked now. This is it. I am not making any changes. Mateta is not coming in for Gyökeres. I don't really feel like I want to upgrade. I couldn't go to Salah, even from Parma, if I took Gyökeres out. Only if I brought Gui in, and I don't want to do that. He's not going to contribute anything to my team over 6 game weeks. So I'm staying with this. You're still making changes, Jack. I'm kind of staying with this, and I'm going to just hope that Salah blanks tonight. And then I'll be absolutely delighted in about 4 hours. Even if Salah bags a couple of goals, it's really not a big deal. And I've thought about that long and hard. The worst case scenario, Salah bags a couple of goals tonight, and I don't have him in my team. Well, I have other people in my team, and I'm not just totally reliant on 2 or 3 people. I'm spreading the worry, if you like. If all 8 of my attacking players blank over the weekend, then yeah, I've made some very, very poor decisions. But I suspect somewhere in here, I'm going to get returns that will match what Salah does eventually. And if my gamble pays off with these 2 Arsenal boys, I might even be quids in by the end of the weekend. Especially as I've got the bench boost on the go as well. So I'm locked in. My team is set. No more transfers. Palmer will be captain. Saka vice captain. I thought long and hard about that as well. Starting 11 for me, Jack, doesn't matter. My bench boost is up and running. And all 15 are playing this weekend. At least I hope they're all playing. You can never tell. But it is now, coming up to deadline. It's almost like waiting for Christmas as a kid, this, isn't it? What presents am I going to get tonight? And good luck to everybody. I really hope that you all do well. And please do join the league. It is up there somewhere in the comments. You can scroll back and find it. It's 56NWNL. We're not a huge league. We're about 40 strong, which means that I can focus on it. We're not like 20 or 30,000 in there where it just becomes something that happens and isn't really significant. I am going to focus on it through the season. I'm going to find out who's top and who's bottom, who's winning. And it's done, the force. Yep, it's done. So we're all locked in and ready to go. I am quite shocked by how many people have turned out to the first ever deadline stream that I've done. I'm always excited when the football season starts. And for me, it's such a huge moment. Because, I mean, although I've had cricket and rugby to keep me entertained and some tennis over the summer, the football starting, it's like, it's like Christmas again, isn't it? And FPL always makes the football season much better for me. Games are much more interesting to watch now than they used to be. You can be watching Leeds and Everton, which I probably wouldn't have turned on before getting involved so much in FPL. Now Leeds and Everton is a big game for me because Goodmanson is playing, and some of you will have Everton players, and football means more. It just means more at this point in time. So good luck, everybody. Please don't take what I say as gospel. Did I watch the... Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it, Swagoto. I really enjoyed it. And what a good end. Exciting end, perhaps I should say. Very, very exciting end. So don't take my word as gospel. Please come along, watch my videos, and I'm going to do 2 videos a week. Stefan's asked me to do 2 a week. I'll do 2 a week. I'll probably do a deadline stream as well, and try and expand my knowledge of FPL, because you are just as useful to me as I might be useful to you. I'm not going to claim to be an expert. Far from it. I've done well in the past because I've just followed the crowd. But I want to get away from following the crowd now and to start thinking for myself, which I believe I'm doing now. And I think I've got a team that will at least keep it together for the first 6 game weeks. If not win in the first 6 game weeks, it will keep it together. And I've never played FPL. Absolutely, it's such good fun. And it makes the football season much more interesting to follow. I even, like, as I said, I get excited by Everton versus Leeds because I've got Goodmanson playing. And I follow these games now much more intensely than I used to. It is very odd for me sometimes, though. Like Manchester United are playing Arsenal in the first game. I've got 2 Arsenal players and no Manchester United players. Am I going to sacrifice a Manchester United win just because I've got 2 Arsenal players in my FPL team? No, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather the 2 Arsenal players blank if there's a chance United could win. But if we lose and I've got 2 Arsenal players, then it makes the defeat less painful in a way, if you get my drift. Yeah, in FPL terms, I've never been a gambler. I've just listened to what the experts said. But now I'm branching out and gambling, taking risks. I'm not really a gambler in terms of money. A few quid on Wirtz to score or assist. What about both? What about Wirtz getting a goal and an assist? He's going to be in and around it. He's in the middle of the park. He's a good passer of the ball and he's got a shot on him. So he's going to be in and around it, I think. But I don't think Liverpool are going to win that handsomely, that Salah's going to walk away with 50 points tonight. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Probably, and it might go to even 3-0, which means that Salah's not going to walk away with all the attacking returns. So Wirtz, if it is 3-0, he's going to be in and around it. May even get a couple of returns himself. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited now. Absolutely looking forward to... Yeah, it will be the Force. I'm looking forward to the game kicking off at Anfield. Strange coming from a Man United fan, that I'm actually really looking forward to watching what's going on at Anfield. But as I've got older as well, I've learned that good football is good football, and it doesn't matter who's playing. If it's good football, it's good football. And I hope that it is a good game tonight. I hope it's not too one-sided and that Bournemouth give them a game. And I'm sure that Bournemouth will. It's game week 1. They're playing for pride, and they're going to go out there and give them a game and hassle them early on. So we'll see how Liverpool cope with that. Well, the game that I think I'm most looking forward to is Manchester United Arsenal, but there's so many games on TV, and I have subscriptions to all of these, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games to watch over this weekend. I'm going to be absolutely worn out by Monday evening. So which one of these do I watch? Chelsea Crystal Palace or Forest Brentford? I'm going to go for Chelsea Crystal Palace because of the players that I have in FPL. So I will watch that one because of the team that I've picked for FPL. You support West Ham. Absolutely awesome. I have Bowen in my team. So up West Ham. That's what I say. Let's go West Ham. Let's go Bowen. I presume now that you're all locked in, guys, that you're all happy with your teams. Is anybody unhappy now in the chat with his team? I'm absolutely thrilled with this team. And you guys might be thinking I'm the craziest man on the planet because I've got no Salah and no Haaland. But wouldn't it be funny if I come back with a video on Tuesday and Salah and Haaland have both blanked? And Bowen, Watkins and Gyökeres have got 2 apiece. Wouldn't that be really funny? So we shall see. And which one of these games will be the strange score? Because there's always one in here. Chelsea Crystal Palace, maybe a 1-0 win for Palace. Who knows? There's always one in there. Wish I picked Salah. I can see Saka picking up an injury. Yeah, don't have doubts now, Jack. Don't have doubts. Would I ever do any watch-alongs? We did start them up with. I did start a podcast with my friend Ben, who I met through FM, and we started doing podcasts, but time was a problem. And then I started doing watch-alongs. But then again, it was time. It was making the graphics. It was time stopped me from doing that. But it's a thought that it's something that I could do again. I had some really nice layouts. And if people are interested in that, then let me know. By all means, and we can certainly think about doing watch-alongs. Again, I like doing that. I love communicating with people online. I've been doing FM now for years, and I just mainly live stream Football Manager because it's the interaction that I like more than anything else. And so, yeah, watch-alongs could be fun. if enough people are interested in me doing it. And we don't have to do one team, as I know watch-alongs tend to be watched by their Man United fans, so they watch Manchester United watch-alongs. I'd be perfectly happy doing watch-alongs for Aston Villa Newcastle as I would for Man United Arsenal. So, as I've said to you, like, good football for me is good football. On the other hand, bad football is bad football as well. But hopefully we're going to get lots of good football here. We've had a brilliant transfer window. I've thoroughly enjoyed the transfer window, and it's not over yet. So good luck to all of you guys. I don't think there's much more I want to say, except don't forget to leave a like, because it will mean the world to me. It helps the channel more than you know. Always like people's videos, because you help them out, and it's pretty much what YouTube tends to go on these days. And that's probably going to be the end of my first ever deadline stream. And I just want to say thank you all for coming along. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Had trouble keeping up with the comments at times. But I'm new to this, doing this kind of thing. But I hope that everybody will bear with me until I get up to speed on that. I can do streaming FM quite easily now. This is slightly different. I get a lot more questions asked in this one, but I'll get up to speed in time, no problem. So thank you very much, guys, for coming along. I've had a whale of a time for the last hour and a quarter. It was me testing out, is it worth doing? It certainly is, by the look of it. If you haven't joined the league, the code is there in the chat. Thank you so much for coming along, for supporting the channel, especially you, Stefan, for what you've done in the past. Amazing, amazing man. And to everybody else who's kept me entertained for an hour and a quarter, and who haven't been too critical of my team. So I want to say thank you as well. And I want to especially say good luck to all of you. Especially me, because I'm going to need a big slice of luck. But good luck to everybody. And keep an eye out for the videos. I will be doing a reaction video on Tuesday, and then I'm on towards the end of the week I'm going to be doing a preview video, and then maybe even do another deadline stream, because I've enjoyed it so much. Thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to say stay safe, as I always do. Stay safe. Take care. And hopefully I will see you all very, very soon.